Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Death toll in the aero bombing in Kaduna State rises as influx of casualties hit Barao Diko Teaching Hospital, where the injured are receiving treatment. On the interview segments for today, we focus on outrage over aero bombing of civilians in Kaduna State, with a former deputy head of security at the African Union Commission, Addis Ababa in Ethiopia. Retired Group Captain Sadiq Garbashew as our guest. Welcome to Politics Tonight. Stay with us everywhere. Welcome back to Politics Tonight. Thank you so much for staying with us. Now let's begin with some developments in the polity. The death toll in the aero bombing in Kaduna State is rising, and there is still an influx of casualties to the Barao Diko Teaching Hospital, where the injured are receiving treatment. 85 people are reported to have died and several others injured in the miscalculated bombing by the army. The Deputy Medical Director at the hospital, Shuaibu Musa, confirmed one death and the admission of 11 additional injured persons on Wednesday. Our correspondent, Lipa Asim, reports.
The Ariwa Consultative Forum, Jamaatul Nasrul Islam, and the 14th Emir of Kano, Mohammed Sanusi, are among those demanding an inquiry into the devastating aero bombing. Still shocked and in grief, these groups demand an urgent and transparent investigation to prevent such civilian casualties in the future. The Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, has also reacted, expressing deep sorrow over the tragic incident. John Hayab, chairman of CAN in Kaduna, sends condolences to the Muslim community. At the Barao Diko Teaching Hospital, Deputy Medical Director Shuaibu Musa confirmed that 11 more injured persons were admitted on Wednesday. One death has been recorded and none of the injured victims have been discharged. The hospital is currently treating 80 victims as it hopes to discharge them when they are fit to reunite with their families. Lupe Asom, TVC News, Kaduna.
The governor of Benue State, Reverend Father Hyacinth Alia, has inaugurated local government caretaker committee, a chairman with a charge to them to lead with integrity, transparency, and fairness. Performing the exercise at the Government House in Makurdi, Governor Alia said the primary duty of the caretaker chairman is to serve the people. Maiwa Kwato reports.
There's so much to talk about on the decision of the Benue State governor to appoint caretaker chairman for local governments in the state. The legality or illegality of the governor's action became a subject of debate. The matter was raised in the Senate and caused a resolution to cut off statutory allocation to local government areas whose chief executive and councillors are not democratically elected. This caused so much brickbats between the APC and the PDP in Benue State, as the matter is considered to be politics used as a tool to control absolute power.
The Senate notes with dismay the dissolution of democratically elected councils in Benue State. The Senate also notes that in placing caretaker committees to replace elected councils is an aberration.
The facts herein are that Governor Hyacinth Alia did not dissolve the democratically elected local government leadership in the state. The Benue State House of Assembly that is vested with the constitutional powers to legislate over the local governments did.
Despite the resistance and criticism, Governor Alia did not budge. He has gone further to swear in these local government chairmen who have been subjects of intense controversy. This is done in accordance with Section 21(3) subsection 1 and 2 of the Local Government Law as amended 2012, as enacted by the Benue State House of Assembly.
Leadership is not about personal gains or accolades. It is about service and sacrifice. It is about putting the needs of the people before our own and working tirelessly to create an enabling environment for growth, development, and progress.
Responding on behalf of the newly inaugurated chairman, the caretaker chairman for Constitutional Local Government Area thanked the governor for finding them worthy of the appointment.
We assure you that we will go to our various local governments and domesticate your 7-point agenda.
The swearing-in of this council chairman may end speculations about the administration of Governor Alia's style of leadership that is described by some as a one-man show. Mayowa Okwato, TVC News, Makadi.
Let's take a short break, and when we return, it will be time to speak with our guest of the day, who is a former deputy head of security at the African Union Commission, Addis Ababa in Ethiopia. Retired Group Captain Sadiq Garba for discussion on outrage over aerial bombing of civilians in Kaduna State. Please stay with Politics Tonight. Welcome back to Politics Tonight, everyone. Our conversation tonight is focused on what everyone has now considered to be very disturbing and frightening because of its recurrence. About 90 lives were lost and several others injured in what the Nigerian army called aerial bombing, miscalculated airstrike, intelligence mishap. But whatever linguistic rendition is chosen to describe this very tragic, worrisome situation, so many questions come to mind. For how long shall we continue this way? And what will be the consequence of this for the military and for those who have lost their lives in this tragedy? And it's also important to note that President Tinubu has now ordered for a thorough and full-fledged investigation into this matter. In the meantime, so many questions are waiting answers. Tonight, I am joined by a former deputy head of security at the African Union Commission, Addis Ababa in Ethiopia, retired Captain Sadiq Garba for discussion on this matter. Group Captain, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Good evening, and thank you for having me.
Right, so this kind of accident that has led to more than 90 civilians, or to the death of more than 90 civilians in Kaduna State, has become very regular. My first question to you is, what are the causes of collateral damage incidents in Nigerian military operation?
Oh, thank you very much. On a sad note, first I have to commiserate with the families of those that lost their loved ones, those that got injured, those that lost their property. On the second instance, I must also commiserate with the Nigerian military, community, because as a soldier myself, I know what the soldier wants to do is to protect life. Why it turns for some unfortunate reason, you end up taking life inadvertently. It is a very horrendous, experience. When you see the picture of the Chief of Army Staff, General Lagbaja, yesterday, you see a man in sorrow. And I think anybody, not only in the army, anybody who is in the military or who was in the military must be feeling very sad. Having said that, an evil proverb says that even while you are crying, you should be able to see the road, or else trailer will knock you. When incidents like this happen, it is time to honestly and courageously examine what are the causes, both remote and immediate. The purpose is not to punish. The purpose is not to push blame, but rather to ensure that such things do not occur in the future. In doing that, we will be speaking honestly, but also on behalf of everybody that is affected, we have to be careful, that in pushing blame, in bringing out things that are wrong, which is very necessary, we should also not go to the extreme of weakening the morale of our soldiers so that a soldier is afraid to take the necessary action. Because if we do that, it is counterproductive. At the same time, we should not shy away of saying what is wrong and what can be improved. Having said that, now I will go to your question that what are the causes of collateral damage? This is the latest one. But then, like I said, this one it became like the harvest time for all the other collateral damages incidents that have happened. Some started counting, I've seen papers counting 15, some counting 9 from as far back as 2013. It is in the nature of my work as a trainer on collateral damage or rules of engagement, on targeting. Whenever there are such incidents, I take my time to go through from what is available in the public domain, and from researches and from interviews sometimes, to try from my own end to identify what is happening. There is a set of trend that runs through almost all the collateral damage incidents, not only this one. And what is that common thread? Is acting on information that has not been verified. In military science or in intelligence, information is different, intelligence is different. Information, anybody can bring information. But experts now will sit down and bring information based on the credibility of the source, his past history of bringing false or wrong information or correct information, probability of what he brought to actually happen, and so many things. You process that information into intelligence. That is, now you are sure you have subjected it to scrutiny. Now, in all the incidents I see, if we take them one by one, the bottom line we have is an information was received, and based on information without the proper analysis, a strike action was, ordered, only that to find that the information was wrong. This is what runs through all the recent. Apart from that, experts have typified when you have collateral damages. In general, you have three types. The first type is collateral damage that is by genuine accident. On the land, that was genuine accident. This is where the planners of the operation, the person who, up to the person who released this, have taken all feasible precautions, which are on the line under international humanitarian law and human rights law. He has done all that, and despite everything, an accident happened. Then you have the kind of accident that you can say is proportionality or double effect collateral damage. What does that mean? I have come to a place, a target. I will give a graphic example. I have come to a place where they told me 20 bandits or 50 bandits or terrorists have entered a place. But in that place, I fully know that there are 2 pregnant women or there are 2 children. Now I make an analysis that, look, for the price of 20 terrorists, I think if 2 are gone, unfortunately, now that's a proportionality kind of collateral damage. That means I know the risk, but I know the advantage I am going to get is higher, is far higher. In terms of national security and advantage, it is higher, and then I take that risk. That is the second type of collateral damage. Then there are the third type of collateral damage is the one where I know there is a high risk of collateral damage, probably even over the military advantage I will gain, but I decided to proceed. So these are the 3 things that cause this thing. But basically, with the ones who are happening in Nigeria, what I find from my own analysis is acting on information that has not been processed.
So, Group Captain, this kind of accident that just happened, in what category would you put it? I mean, considering the 3 kinds of collateral damages you've just outlined.
Good. I will probably put it in the second type, that is the systemic damage, the systemic collateral damage. What I mean systemic damage? That means I know that civilian casualty is likely to occur, but I decided to proceed all along. Why do I say that? We look at the circumstances. The Tudumbiri is a settlement. The information we're having is that there was a pursuit of certain terrorists or bandits in the area. I do not know the number. But then, when you know bandits have entered into if you have the information that bandits have entered into a settlement, I don't know again the population of that particular village. But then, if you are going to strike those bandits within that community, then definitely I think ab initio, there is a likelihood of collateral damage. So I will put it under the systemic collateral damage, where though it is not intended, but the possibility of collateral damage is known, the operator proceeded, all the same.
All right. So initially, people thought it was the Air Force again, but later we heard from the NAF that it's not them, and the Army took responsibility. Another question I would like to ask you is, does the Army have aircraft? Group Captain.
Well, when this incident happened, personally, like myself, I actually thought it was the Air Force, because with due respect, it was the Air Force that operates in the air. It was the Air Force that has been issues of collateral damage. But later on, after several hours, from the clarification by the Nigerian Air Force, and later the announcement by the Nigerian Army that indeed it was their own operation, then we concluded that it was no longer Air Force, it was the Nigerian operation. It was the Nigerian Army operation. Having said that, I started by saying any military man, you see in the Nigerian parlance, whether Army, Navy or Air Force is all one armed forces. Whoever is at fault, whoever is bereaved, I think it is a collective, feeling. Having said that, you asked the question whether Army have aircraft. To the best of my knowledge, when you say aircraft, that is fixed wing aircraft. For now, I do not know that the Army have a fixed wing aircraft. Even I know there are plans to buy helicopters for them. So that being the case, we ask what kind of air assets does the Army have? Again, it is something that any person concerned with security knows, that the Nigerian Army during the Buhari administration, they put a contract for 6 drones, Turkish drones called Bayraktar TB2. So it is, by deduction. If the Army do not have an aircraft, but they said the operation is theirs and this is an attack from the air, so we can conclude that it was the Bayraktar TB2 Turkish drones that were used for that attack, because that is the only air asset as of now that the Army has in their inventory.
So in this collateral incident in Nasarawa State, we were told that particular incident was caused by an unknown drone. Are there other security agencies that have drones?
I have made actually some basic research to find that I know now. The issue is that almost security agencies and other agencies, they are trying to acquire drones. In the last supplementary budget that was passed, I know there were a lot of purchases or proposals to buy drones by various agencies. So again, and I learned from some reliable source that the police have drones. I think the Nigerian Immigration Service have drones. So there is this, again, this is the new challenge. There are many agencies, both within the military and non-military, that are trying to acquire drones. So again, this is something that maybe a kind of regulation or coordination, because when you have so many drones in the airspace, you have to do something about coordination, about apportioning the airspace, about identification of that. If not, again, that's another confusion. So in simple sense, there are several other agencies now that either have drones or they are in the process of having drones. Drones of different types. There are armed drones like this one that carry out attack. It is an armed drone. And then there are other drones that are not armed, maybe for observation, for reconnaissance, for deliveries. All are in the airspace in Nigeria now.
Also, Captain, between the different kind of weapon systems we have, jet fighters, helicopters, drones, is there any one that will most likely not cause collateral damage?
Well, first, again, let me come back to collateral damage. Under international humanitarian law, what you call law of armed conflict or law of war, I want us to understand one thing. Collateral damage in itself is not illegal. With the proviso, there must be proportionality, there must be distinction, there must be all feasible measures taken before the attack to prevent. I've given example of proportionality. If you are following 10 bandits and unfortunately they entered somebody's compound and you know there's only one person, military necessity might make you that, look, this is an opportunity to kill these 10 bandits for one unfortunate farmer who is there. It's not that his life is not there, but this is a military calculation. So I will have to understand that it's proportionality, distinction, and feasible measure. But that is not to say, again, an organization should accept collateral damage completely as it is acceptable. There's nothing we're going to do. That is the kind of mindset we must move. Collateral damage is there hanging over there, but all feasible effort must be done to ensure that the possibility of collateral damage is avoided. if you decide to avoid collateral, if you decide to accept collateral damage, like I gave the example, is on the basis that what I am going to gain far outweighs the possibility that I will kill one innocent person or two innocent people. Having said that, yes, for air power, you have fixed aircraft. Even between fixed aircraft, you have fighter jet, fast jets. You could have helicopters. You could have drones. Now, each of these, air assets, they have their own unique advantages and also limitations. With regards to collateral damage, unfortunately, out of all of them, drone is the one that has a higher capacity for collateral damage. In fact, studies that are carried out said that collateral damage with armed drones attack, is as high as 32%. Even when you move from Nigeria, what is causing problem between the United States with their operation in Pakistan, in Iraq, and the rest, you will see is drone attack. So drone has the highest, probability of causing collateral damage. Then again, for the other ones, you could say to a less extent a helicopter. Why? Because a helicopter can hover lower. When it hovers lower, it allows the pilot, using his eyes and other gadgets, to correctly identify that these people that I'm targeting, are they farmers? Are they terrorists? Are they holding something in their hands? Are they advancing? Are they firing? All this thing will confirm to the pilot that, yes, this is a legitimate target, I can engage it. Or on the other hand, okay, these are school children. Finally, and then he pulls off. A helicopter will have that more than a fighter jet that operates very high in the air at a very fast speed. It may not be able to do that identification. Then you come to drones, which I said. The drones, they are the most accurate. But then the most accurate, again, is not balanced by actually identifying the target I acquired. Is it a legitimate target or not? Because, unfortunately, the drone do not have the human element. Now, no matter how we advance technology, especially in a dynamic area, what do I mean by a dynamic area? Where this place could be occupied by bandits, the next time it is occupied by school children. In such fast-moving situation that requires, decision-making and analysis, unfortunately, a drone may not be able to help you because the human element is not there.
All right, Group Captain, you just said that collateral damage is not illegal, and sadly, this is the third incident we're having this year. But is there any special training that can help reduce these incidents?
Thank you very much. Yes, there is training, but not only training procedures. Like I said, international humanitarian law, understands that it's always the fog of war. When we say fog of war, it means a commander cannot wait often that until I have 100% information, until I have 100% intelligence analysis before I attack. There are times that you have that luxury of time. There are times you don't have that luxury of time. For example, when you have a high-value target, when you have a time-sensitive target, that is a target that appears, and it is likely to appear for a long time, and it is high value, you might dispense with all those niceties and go and attack. Now, sorry, your question was what? Training.
Is there any special training that can help?
Yes, there are training first, right from planning the mission. Right from planning the mission, there are procedures that will minimize, if at all they do not eliminate, the possibility of collateral damage. You see, targeting for air power is about intelligence, the quality of the intelligence. So the information you get has to be fully processed. You should always try to buy time to analyze the information that you are given before you act on it. That is one thing. And a second element is that even when you have analyzed your intelligence and it is correct at time T, at 10, maybe you receive the information at 10 o'clock in the morning, you have processed it, by 11 you are ready to launch attack. Because of the fluid nature of the kind of operations we are having, from that 10 to the 11 that you take your drone or take your aircraft, the situation might have changed. A place where they told you bandits have entered a certain home, they might have come out and some children have entered. So what does that tell you? From the time you take up to the last minute that you are going to drop your bomb, you continue, either it is from ground control, you continue updating that correct intelligence that you got, because this might have changed, until the last minute. And even at the last minute, the pilot or the drone operator has, under international law, no matter who gave him the command, you have the final decision to decide that I have come on top where they told me. What they told me is not what I am seeing, or I have doubt. In that case, you can cancel the attack and go back. So all this is what is called feasible precaution before an attack. Then also the issue of proportionality. For example, again, let me go up to my my hypothetical problem. They say bandits have entered a village. From your analysis, which you must have done, even from your map marking, when you arrive an area, you map all the places that you are not supposed to touch. Where is hospital? Where is market? Where is school? You have it marked on your screen. This village, how many people are there? If this is another way, you have started avoiding collateral damage because you know where all the things are. To my right, to my left, to my front, to my back, at how distance, what is the the coordinates of all these places, I already know it. So now, if they tell you a certain group of bad guys have entered a place, you quickly do, a proportionality calculation. What is proportionality calculation? These people that entered into this area, how many are they? Who are the occupants, the original occupants, that is the innocent citizens, how many are they? If, for example, you are pursuing 10, again, I'm just speculating, I'm not saying this is what actually happened. If you are pursuing, if you are pursuing a group of 20 terrorists, and they entered a place where there are 15 school children, or they entered a hospital where there are 20. Now, even before taking off your aircraft or your drone, you do a proportionality. Is it worth it to go after these 20 bandits into a place where you have this number of innocent? If the answer, what you are going to gain is equal or even less than what you are going to, the losses are going to be higher than the gain, then automatically, that is not even an attack that you should do under international humanitarian law. So these are some of the processes: intelligence, preparing of your plan, having situational awareness of the area. Situational awareness. Again, let me be concrete. In this area, we learn from the stakeholders that at a time like this, during the Maulud, which is the birthday of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they always do this kind of night gatherings. It is part of what we call pattern of life. That should become a pattern of life of that village. From the DSS man that is there, to the policeman there, to any visitor that area, he knows at this certain time of the year, there are night gatherings. With this knowledge, even this knowledge can help you to avoid collateral damage. So what I'm trying to explain here, so many pieces of information should allow the commander or the planner or the pilot or the drone operator to have a picture of the area he is operating. And that might even make him not even start planning the operation. So these are some of the issues. And then when you come to specific training, there's training on what they call collateral damage estimation. This is, an approximate way of saying if I attack target A, based on where the target is located, based on nearby structures, whether buildings, whether hospitals, what is likely to be the cost? There is a way you do that. You also have what is called rules of engagement. Rules of engagement are rules that will tell you when should I release weapons, when should I not release weapons. And the denser the population, the more likelihood that the people you are chasing are going to be inside a population, the tighter your rules of engagement will do. For example, a rule of engagement will tell you do not release your weapon until you have positive identification of what you are firing at. Positive identification, it could be coming as low to see what are these people holding. Coming as low will, for example, help you to know in this crowd that I saw, are there men, are there women, are there children? Now, this is the advantage that a manned aircraft will have over a drone. If it is a manned aircraft, coming down and seeing that particular crowd, which was given to you as a target, you saw women, you saw children, a pilot will think that, okay, if I can see women and children along this place, then it is not likely that these are bandits, because logic dictates that bandits will not come to attack a place with children and women. So all these are the kind of things, the training, this collateral damage estimation, rules of engagement training, and weapon release procedure. Who gives the order to finally, if it is a drone like in this case, who gives the final order? It must be somebody who has contact with the target of that village, either a ground observer or a local commander that is the place that, look, the information will give you 10 o'clock. As of 11 o'clock that you are overhead, I am confirming that those people I told you are bandits, so please go ahead and release your weapon. Here we can only speculate. I cannot know whether all this has happened, but you asked me simply what are the kinds of training and, and procedures that could minimize the possibility of collateral damage. And to be honest with you, the Nigerian armed forces also have guidelines. There is this book, Nigerian Army Handbook for International Laws Guiding the Operations. It clearly states there is this, I think, is section 6.3. It talks of feasible precautions before launching an attack. It talks about all these things that I said, including the provision that where you are overhead and you are to release your weapon and you are not sure whether the people are civilians or bandits, what it says is cancel the attack and go back home. All these things are in our books, and this is the kind of training, that we should be calling for, either to improve on it or to look at it and do more of it so that it minimizes. It may not eliminate, but it minimizes. If you do these things, right from planning, verifying your information, visual confirmation, all these things will reduce the incidence of collateral damage.
Thank you so much, Group Captain. Now, sadly, this has happened, and we've seen several delegations going to condole with families and the entire community. But of course, visitations can never be enough. Now, shouldn't the government or the military pay compensation for the killings?
Thank you very much. I remember the incident in Ran, that is in Borno State in 2017. January 2017, I can't remember the exact date, when we had a collateral damage, that time by the Air Force, where an IDP camp was mistaken as a place of Boko Haram, and then some people, I think some 200 people died. There was a debate as of that time, which I followed on the radio, for some people saying compensation should be paid to these people. And the government spokesman then, I heard him saying that, look, all over the world, as long as it's through military or security operation, citizens are not entitled to compensation. I actually called the government spokesman that time. I told him, sir, that information you got is wrong. It is a global best practice. When a citizen is harmed, whether it is military, whether it is army, whether it is Air Force, whether it is DSS, who have the right to use weapons correctly and either kill or injure to stop law distance. If it happens during that kind of exercise of their duties, they harmed an innocent citizen, there is the responsibility to compensate, either monetary or through other means, the people that are dead, the people that lost property, the people that lost limbs. In fact, the actual word that is used is not even compensation. Because experts are saying if you say compensation, it's like you are saying there is a equivalence for loss of life. We know as human beings there can never be equivalence for loss of life. So, international experts, they have this word solatium. Solatium. That is to say it's a kind of money or non-money, equivalent that you give to somebody. So what I want to advise in this case, this should not even be a debate. It shouldn't even be a debate whether it should be paid or not. They are entitled to what I call solatium. Anybody who lost, even the people that lost property, not actual life, they are entitled to solatium. And not only that, what other countries do is that there are procedures, there are laws that make that. I think here it is because we don't have laws. So people are of the opinion, which is wrong, that the armed forces or the police were in their lawful duty and this happened. And for that reason, citizens are not entitled. No, citizens are entitled to that payment. However, in making the payment, you are advised to also look at the local culture. You might even find cultures where some people, they say we cannot collect money for somebody who is killed. It is possible, but the offer must be there, and as a policy, we should have that. I am not praying for another collateral damage, but because of the recurrence of the collateral damage, I think we should have that so that there won't be any debate, as I am seeing now. This debate has been dragging since 2017. Whether payment should be made or not, we should put it an end. There should be a government policy that people are going to be paid. Who is going to do the payment? That could be elaborated in the policy. Is it the service that caused the damage or federal government? That can be, looked into later.
All right, Group Captain, let's take a break, and when we come back, this conversation will continue. Please stay with Politics Tonight.
First, with breaking news.
Sales, sales, sales! Embrace the holiday spirit with a shopping extravaganza at the TVC Women's Network First Sales Fair. Join us for an amazing opportunity to explore a wide array of products and services at festive discounts. Discover irresistible offers. Mark your calendar, December 15th to 17th, 2023. Venue, TVC Communications, 1 Continental Drive off CMD Road, Ikosiketu, Lagos. Time, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily. Immerse yourself in the festive vibe with a shopping spree featuring exciting games, stunning showcases, and live performances. Wrap up your shopping list with unmissable savings. For inquiries, call 0803-284-8509. Join us for an unforgettable holiday shopping adventure. This event is brought to you by TVC Communications.
Welcome back to Politics Tonight, everyone. Tonight we focus on outrage over aerial bombing of civilians in Kaduna State. And I've been speaking with the former Deputy Head of Security at the African Union Commission, Addis Ababa, in Ethiopia, retired Group Captain Sadiq Garbashil. Group Captain, thank you for staying with us. Let's go on with this conversation. And also related to my last question, can citizens sue military or government?
Again, another very good question. I spoke about solatium. Solatium is the payment that government does without even asking, without even the victim saying he wants to go to court. It's global best practice. Why is it so? It shows sympathy. It also brings, shows that the armed forces or the service that caused that incident, they are aware that they have harmed people. Now, solatium, even after it is paid, under the law, a citizen that has been harmed can sue. He can sue either it is the federal government, either it is the armed forces, he can sue. We should not forget, in 2012 or 2013, there was another collateral damage of a different type. Why do I say of a different type? That was happened at a ground operation. If we remember the Kekena Pep that were killed in an empty house in Gudu, in Abuja here, where an operation carried out by the Brigade of Guards and DSS, where they received again information that was not verified that that empty building is occupied by Boko Haram. Not knowing that it is the normal Kekena Pep people who cannot afford houses, who after their work they go and sleep there. An operation happened and several people, I can't remember, were killed, some were injured. They sued for compensation. And I think the case was heard by the National Human Rights Commission. That time it was Odinkalu that was chairing human rights. They paid them compensation. The military and federal government, appealed the case. But I think the higher court also, insisted that those people were paid. So, in short, apart from the solatium, which should be given without asking, a citizen can sue. A citizen can sue for the violation of his rights. That is the actual position.
So the Kaduna State Governor has said it is investigating to ensure this does not happen again. Do you think this will end, or do you think this will end well, or how do you think this will end?
Yes, I heard what the governor of Kaduna State said. First, I have to commend him for some of the efforts he took, like taking care of the medical bills and other expenses of the people. And I don't blame him. As a governor, his first responsibility is to his people. So when he says that he's going to stand by his people and to get their rights, there's nothing wrong with that. That is why he was elected. However, his promise that he'll ensure that will not happen. With the kind of system we know in Nigeria, security or the control of the armed forces under the federal government. With due respect, this is where I see that unless if it is through advocacy with the federal government, to ensure that more training, more procedures, more, again, investigation is done. I think that is the only thing that a governor, not only of Kaduna State, of any state, can be able to do. Because the powers to do something over what is happening with regard to collateral damage resides with the federal government, because it's an exclusive matter under the federal government.
All right, so, in October 2022, NAF said it has commenced an investigation into accidental airstrikes on civilians in the country. My question is, how do you think this investigation should go? Because this is not the first time we will be hearing that such a terrible incident will be investigated, and at the end of the day, nothing happens. How do you think this investigation should go?
Thank you very much. Investigations are normal in Nigeria, but how they are done, what comes after the investigation, is the important thing. And what is that important thing we are seeing? The important thing we should be searching for any investigation is to get to the root cause, remote and immediate causes of an incident. Why did it happen? Any incident that you look like regarding this collateral damage, you will find either wrong procedure, either lack of training, or in the worst case, negligence. Negligence, that is to say, the person was trained, he was well equipped, but he did not apply the training. Now, an investigation should be able to find out what caused that. If it is a wrong procedure, you change procedure. If it is a wrong training or missing training, you put additional training. If it is negligence, you punish the person. Unfortunately, that is not what we are doing. And with due respect, again, I have to raise the issue of when such things happen, this is what is called independent investigation. Independent investigation in an investigation that is carried out by an agency, not the agency that caused the havoc. If we are looking for a solution. If you say an agency should investigate itself, then already you have started on the wrong footing. The collateral damage of 2017 in Iran, I vividly remember because I appeared before a presidential panel that was set up to investigate that and other allegations against the military. There was a report, but unfortunately nothing came out of the report. Like I said, out of the report, you are seeking for two things: change in procedure, increase in training, change in equipment, or again, punishment. But the punishment, I don't want to emphasize the punishment. The punishment is just to prevent, it's not the most. If you get the other three things, you are good and done. So we already have other investigation of collateral damage, but where they went, we do not know. In fact, there are some that were not even investigated. You mentioned the one that happened January this year in Nasarawa. That one, unfortunately, we didn't even hear any official statement as to who was responsible. In Kaduna here, the army has courageously come out to say they were responsible. In the one in Nasarawa, unfortunately, and honest, not even acknowledging that it has happened, I mean, it's inhuman. Because what you are saying is that those people that died is like they never existed. They never existed. That is the meaning of it. So we should see investigation that is independent. Find an independent body of experts to tell you. It should not be in this respect, the army or the air force, they are at fault, then you tell them go and investigate. That is not an investigation. And at the end of investigation, because the armed forces is the people armed forces, to have the confidence of the people that is doing, there are aspects of the report that should be made public. The ones that do not completely concern security, they should be made public. This is what we see in other climes. When the Americans bombed a hospital in Syria, I think it's 2017, that was just about the time when we had our run. The report is online. What was done was online. They said training was lacking in some of the air crew, so they are going to add hours of training. They said there's a procedure that was not followed. They are going to review the procedure. They told some people to lose command. These are the things that you do. If you say this is what you have done, I could not see how that violates security. Of course, there are other things you may not see. But to tell the people that we are working towards reducing these things, please, when eventually you set up the independent commission of inquiry, it investigates, it comes out with findings, share the findings with the public.
Group Captain, what more recommendations will you give the military and the federal government at this point?
Okay. First, I will give recommendations. Let me even start with people like me, ordinary citizens. Unfortunately, this incident and others, have taken a very dangerous dimension, apart from the loss of lives and property. I want to appeal to Nigerians that, look, without security, whether soldiers or police or civil defense or DSS and the rest, if these people are not on the line, putting their lives on the line, me and you cannot sleep. So when this incident happened, as much as we'll hold them responsible, is what we are doing. That is the purpose of this interview, and telling them how to improve. At the same time, we should be careful not to demoralize them in such a way that when a bandit, one day they will get a bandit, they will be afraid to attack the bandit. It will be counterproductive. I also want to call, I have seen some religious or regional organizations try to give either some regional or ethnic or religious colorations and even making personal attacks at some of the military commanders. I still call on understanding. With due respect, I'm saying this not because I am a former military man, but I think the military is one of the last institutions that keeps this country together, irrespective of religion. Let's not bring religious or ethnic coloration. I can assure you there is no commander or pilot or a drone operator, also a soldier holding gun that wakes up in the morning with the intention just to go and kill a Nigerian, an innocent Nigerian. But it could happen. So that is what I want to say. So this is first my recommendation to the general public. My recommendation to the federal government, please institute an independent investigation. I've explained what I mean by independent investigation. And also see to identify the remote and immediate causes professionally of this incident. With a view, you might even review the report of the 27th Presidential Commission of Inquiry is still there. It's still, collateral damage is there, but nothing has been done. Give the training that is required. That is and also pay this solatium. In fact, have a public policy, whether it's an executive order, whether it is a law, that whenever any security agency, whether military, whether police, even police can injure somebody or kill somebody, there must be, it should not be an issue of debating. The person or the bereaved that he left behind, they deserve to be paid something. Those that lost their livelihood or lost their shops, they should also be compensated. That is my advice to the federal government. My last advice is to my comrades in arms. We have to accept one thing, and in fact this goes to all the security, whether we like it or not. The use of drones. The use of drones, in as much as it's a revolution in military affairs is bound to continue, we must accept that we are new in the area. Being new in the area, we must use drones with the knowledge that they have advantages, they also have limitations. There are also well and tested trainings, well and tested procedures that will minimize the incidence of collateral damage. Please, let's give our officers and men as much of this training. Let us do in-house introspection. We should not be shy to, apart from the independent committee, the services should look in-house. What is causing collateral damage? I can assure you as a military man, if a honest introspection is done, the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, they will find out why this thing happened.
All right. So,
these are, in short, the recommendations that I will give.
Thank you so much, our Group Captain. Now, these villagers were commemorating Maulud at the time this incident happened. Is there any chance of identifying targets before bombing by a jet?
Yes. Identifying target, what is called positive identification. Positive identification, whether it is a manned aircraft or a drone like this case, there are ways you can come and do positive identification. And to be honest with you, the man in a drone even has more capacity for positive identification than a man in a manned aircraft. Why? The man in manned aircraft probably has fuel limitation. He can only stay in the air for a certain number of time. So maybe he may not have time to go down. And depending on the aircraft, if it is a fighter jet, he cannot even come down. He has to stay at a minimum height of maybe 10,000. It's only maybe a helicopter that can come down. So you see the limitation of that. But the man with a drone, one of the advantages of this particular drone that was used, it can stay in the air for 27 hours. What does it mean? The person operating the drone has the capacity to come down, has the capacity to loiter, has the capacity to go down. With due respect, you see, again, I must say, the problem we that analyze this after the event, I must underline that. I am examining this event after they have happened. Maybe the person who did the operation did not have the time to sit down in a comfortable chair and examine, but at least we must also examine. Had this operator of this drone come down, loitered, it is possible he will see among those crowd first, they are not holding anything in terms of weapon. They are not shooting upwards at him. He might even have seen that in the crowd there are children. He might even have seen that in the crowd there are women. If he sees this thing, in spite of the information that he was given before that there are bandits, that would have made him to have a second rethink. And like I said, even in the Army Handbook of International Law, if you are not sure, it's like what they say in law. Any doubt should be resolved in favor of the accused. The teaching is, if you are not sure that these people I'm hitting are Boko Haram, are bandits, are kidnappers, you cancel your attack and go back home. So these are positive identification. Until you positively identify, I was told bandits, and I can see bandits either from what they are holding, either from what they are doing, either from whether they're advancing or withdrawing. There are battle indicators that will tell you these people have hostile intent. In a training that I deliver or rules of engagement, whether it is on the air or on the ground, there are indicators that will tell you a particular group that you are examining is a hostile group. It is a simple mnemonic. We said hand salute. Hand stands for one word. That is, what are they holding in their hands? If they are not holding weapons, even if they are bandits, it means they are not immediate danger that you can take the risk of shooting villagers and going after them. You can come another day. Then the salute. The S is for size. How many are they? The A, the activity, what activity are doing. It is even possible if they are bandits, by the time you start coming, they will start shooting in the air, even if they cannot get you. The location, that Tudimbiri, is it a non-location of bandits? Not that bandits cannot enter anywhere, but as of within that time frame, is it a location of not bandits? You, if it is a normal enemy like a foreigner, not troops, are they wearing, even bandits, though they don't have uniform, we know how they dress. We have an idea of how they dress. Either a camouflage shirt with bougie and all those kind of things. Yes.
Right. So quickly, some experts have called for Nigeria to develop counterinsurgency measures that protect civilians from harm. How do we go about this?
Sorry, I didn't hear the question, please.
All right, so some analysts have asked the country to provide or develop counterinsurgency measures that protect civilians from harm. How do we go about this?
Well, this is basic knowledge. What do I mean by basic knowledge? In our institutions, we teach international humanitarian law. International humanitarian law has the principles of distinction. What it means by distinction, you must distinguish between a civilian and a fighter. You must distinguish between a civilian object and a military object or a fighter's object. It also teaches us proportionality. I have mentioned proportionality. I've given an example here. What am I going to gain? For what price? If the price is higher than what I'm going to gain, you don't go. There's also feasible precaution from knowing your general area. Where is hospital located? Where is market located? Where is school located in the area? Mapping it on your map. You have what is called situational awareness. So that front of me 500 meters, there's a hospital. To the left of me 800 meters, there is a market. And also knowing, that's why sometimes it's good for military or security people to stay in a place. I was discussing with a DSS man. He said they have this policy that if you go to a village or local government, you are going to stay for a long of time. The point I'm making in this particular decision, possibly, just calling one DSS man that, look, we have, the information we have here is that bandits are in Kurmimbili. They are assembling this night. What do you tell us? Even a DPO in that area, even an SSS who is staying in that area will tell you, sir, it is normal for this village to hold night Maulud celebration at this particular time, and it is Maulud time. This would have saved us all this analysis and question and answers we are saying. So the point I am making, we have the books. Probably is transferring what is into the books into the heads of our officers and men. Maybe that's where the challenge is. So the training is there. It is not any new training, but imbibing it. With due respect, I was in the military. Unfortunately, I must say this. Most military training in Jaji or in War College is aimed at me coming first or second or getting what we call C+, so that I am rated high. But unfortunately, we do not see that training. The purpose of training, if you ask educators, is three. First, to gain the knowledge. Just the knowledge itself, I can memorize the principles of international humanitarian law. That is knowledge. You have gained that knowledge. Top, you will get A. The next thing is the psychomotor domain. What is the psychomotor domain? I can transfer this. Since they say distinction, I carry my weapon, whether my aircraft, I look through the side, I see a woman holding a baby. Automatically, I will drop my weapon because I know that's not a target I should engage. The next one is the affective domain. The training I gained that I should not target a civilian, I should not target a woman. It should become like second nature. It should become like second nature. So once I receive a report, Oga, we have 10 bandits that have entered the market. Entered market A. Market A, is it daytime or nighttime? It's daytime. The market is holding. We can't follow them. Automatically, you make that deduction. So this is what I want to see. The trainings are there. We must do more of them. The books are there. We must have more of them. And training. There are certain training that other armed forces is never enough. It's never enough. Even such like this collateral damage, for example, which is a constant problem. I will advocate that it becomes an annual mandatory training for all operators.
All right. Thank you so much. Retired Group Captain Sadiq Garuba Shehu, former Deputy Head of Security at the African Union Commission, Addis Ababa in Ethiopia. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us this evening. I always appreciate your time with us and your contribution on security matters. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
Right. Sad incident, and we really hope the Nigerian military checks this and ultimately fixes this. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. That's all we have for you on Politics Tonight. But the conversation continues from here. Get in touch with us on Twitter at TVC News NG and at Olajumoke WA using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Good night.
Ain't no experience like an MIP experience. Be a part of the biggest Movie in the Park edition yet as we celebrate our historic 10th edition on